What's up, everybody?
You should warn somebody before you do that.
Excuse me. Welcome to the RiDESHARE Rodeo and Delivery and Gig Economy podcast. And how y'all doing tonight? We got Kim and John. Hannibal's gone. By the way, guys, Hannibal and I held down the fort last week. Like, we're the two that one of us is always gone, right?
I would say
so it was just the two of us. You guys were both gone. I mean, we did have two guests. We had Britt and DJ.
They're awesome.
So that was kind of fun. And they're still here in Denver, so that was kind of interesting and fun. And we had some good conversation. But you guys, this is to the chat. This is my fourth live stream today. I've done 3 curries. I blew a tire. I got it replaced. And the second live stream of the day was, if you missed it, I see Bud Soda in here. I know he caught it. I know RiDESHARE Road Warrior Rick caught some of it. I suggest, and I know a lot of people don't go back and watch the lives after the fact, but those who do, please go back and watch this one that we did today, because there was a lot of info packed in there. And even some specific app-based gig economy stuff. You know, a lot of times with that panel, I talk about independent contractor stuff, but we really hit on a lot of stuff. So please go and check it out. You guys can't miss it. It's from earlier. So before I get to the chat, what's up, John? How are you?
Doing good, man. It's a beautiful day. It's starting to cool down a little bit in Arizona.
A little.
When football season comes, it's better for the gig economy out here as well. So
yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the. I actually have the corner of my eyeball on the game, on the score, at least, because I don't want to see the game going. But because I'm a Lions fan, and I'm just waiting to see the Lions pull off this crap tonight. Good luck. But I'm just watching it literally by score and time. I can't see any. I'm not doing any even plotting. Nothing. There's no maps or anything going on, so it's not screwing me up. But go Lions. Kim, you're back too. What's up?
I'm back. Hi.
Are you tan, rusted, and ready?
I don't know about tan. I go right from white to burnt. So I'm a sunscreen girl all the way. But no, it was a fantastic week. Fun and sun and last hurrah of vacation. So it was a good week. But no, I was looking at Christopher's chat. But no, I've just been so super busy. My daughter has gone back to school finally today. So yay.
Oh. Wow, you guys, as Hannibal said that too, you guys start late, man.
We do start late. It's always after Labor Day. So yeah, wow. She started today. First grade, here we come.
I mean, Max started, this is his third or fourth week.
Yeah. I think Pennsylvania starts earlier. There's a whole bunch of states that start earlier, but New York and New Jersey are usually around the same time frame.
So let me see who's in the chat here real quick. Say hi. If you guys could hit like, I know a lot of people are watching NFL tonight. I know that they launched, but the show is going to be a little bit. Hey, Cray, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. We're still gonna give you guys a show, and Gig Geezer's going to join us halfway through, and he'll bring in some of his last mile courier stuff. So because Hannibal's out this week, so. I'm guessing it's partially because of the show last night. Those guys, man, Kim, you've been gone through a lot of that, but wow, I won't even mention it because I don't even want that crap around this channel. So we're all about love here, people. So get on board or beat it. Hey, Chris Taylor, what's up? What's up, Red? What's up, Rick? How are you? Hi, Gigan. Hey, Traveler. Hey, Thomas. I think Thomas didn't join us last. I don't know if he did, but if you did, Thomas, I didn't even notice you. But I think he skipped because you weren't here, Kim. Literally.
Maybe, yeah.
Seriously. I think he's like, if Kim's not there, I'm not going to go.
Because it's all about me. No, I'm just kidding.
What's up, Bud Soda? What's up, Kevin Hawthorne? And hey, Marissa. And who else? Oh, what's up, Cray Cray? And thank you again for that super chat. It was very nice. But yeah, so that before we even get into some other things, I do want to show 2 videos about the Instacart IPO. Well, they're very short. They're about 1:10 each. So you guys we'll watch these, and then I just want to have a quick conversation about this because it is happening on the 19th is the day that they will go on the NASDAQ. And they said they've priced it accordingly. We will see. Here's 2 interpretations of they're 1:30 each. So here's 2 interpretations of the Instacart IPO from the news.
Instacart has filed for an IPO. Let's bring in Katie Roof now, who joins us from Los Angeles with the details. And Katie, it looks like it has filed for an IPO as Maple Bear, and this would be under the ticker CART, C-A-R-T. What is Maple Bear?
Sounds like that's their official name, so if you're looking for filing an S1 on Edgar, I guess you need to type in Maple Bear. Good to know. But yeah, I mean, this is exciting. We've been talking about Instacart's news for IPO news for maybe 3 years. What feels like it's been one of those IPOs that have been anticipated, but it just never happened. And a lot of people were skeptical that it ever really would. And certainly it still hasn't happened just yet. But this is the closest they've ever been now that we're seeing their filing.
Well, another thing about this, it looks like they turned a net loss into a profit. Do you think that they're in the type of financial health that this era of IPO investors are going to want to bite on?
Well, it'll be interesting. I'll dig into the numbers shortly, but they have Nick Giovanni as their CFO. He used to run Goldman's TMT investment banking team. So if anyone should know how to do an IPO, it would be him. So he's obviously been paying close attention to the market and what they're looking for. But yeah, as you mentioned, people are definitely a lot more focused on profitability than they used to. And so, Instacart's really going to have to prove to investors that this is something that can remain cash flow positive and will be generating income for the years to come.
We've got breaking news on that Instacart IPO, and Deirdre Bosa has the details from San Francisco. Hi, Dee.
Tyler, this is the S1 we have been waiting for. It flipping just moments ago. We're digging through all the financials, but this is Instacart just revealing its S1 as it plans its public offering. The company will trade on the NASDAQ under the ticker code CART, CART. Pepsi also, this is new, as a cornerstone investor, it will purchase $175 million of preferred stock in a private placement, kind of underpinning this IPO. Instacart, remember, is a grocery delivery app. It launched over a decade ago, so this is a long time coming. Played a long time. Will they or won't they? But here it is. The filing says that it has 85% of the U.S. grocery market, 7.7 million monthly active users. In terms of financials, revenue of $2.55 billion in 2022, and it also turned profitable last year, earning net income of $428 million. So this really differentiates it from Uber and DoorDash, who went public with losses. Ad revenue, this is one we were looking at very closely because this is kind of what separates it. It's been in this business for a long time. Ad revenue in 2022 of $740 million. That represents year-over-year growth of 29%. Tyler and Kelly, we're going to continue to dig through this, the risk factors, the stakeholders, and we'll bring it to you as we get it.
To me, it's the all-important question, what the ticker's going to be.
Yeah.
I love it, Deirdre.
CART.
I love it. CART.
They were thinking there on that
So
one.
elegant.
I was trying to guess it. It didn't occur to me, CART. I thought maybe
What was
it would
the one
be
the other day?
INSTA or
ARM,
something.
ARM. The ticker symbol was ARM. Now that's really genius, boy, I tell you. Deirdre Bosa.
Use your creativity here.
The queen of the tickers, Deirdre Bosa. Thank you.
And we have another guest with us. Welcome, Gig Geezer.
Hey, y'all. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Kim.
How are you?
Dash Theory. But people whom I've actually commented on their content for a good while now, like over a year, perhaps.
You have.
Yes, followed you too, but I think we're all in this space. Follow each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we just opened up with that, and I don't even know what to say. I was thinking more under the call sign JUNK.
I can offer something else though, but y'all know how my mouth is.
I mean, honestly, like what this thing, and it's supposedly it's like in pack. I mean, they've gone from and we won't even walk through the timeline, but they've gone from 39 billion to a potential $5 to $8 billion value. So it's probably more in line, but up revenue or sales up 2.5 billion and revenue in the profit 428 million last year. How is that even possible? I mean,
they stole it from a lot of us drivers.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we already know they do that, but geez.
Why did I not know that they had a profit last year? I just thought all these gig companies actually were at a loss last year.
Well, because one of the things that I was going to mention that Instacart does is they do, and they said it even in the second thing, was ad revenue.
So what is their ad revenue? What is that? I don't use it.
I believe it's like they get money for product showing. Like the fact that they're showing products, not just ads in the app or anything, but showing all the products because they're a grocery app.
Well, that's where they make their profit from. So that's interesting.
So let me get this straight. So they're they're one of the only gig companies that are reporting a gain last year, but yet they cut base pay down to $4.
But they did that this year.
I know, but that's my point. That's my point.
So they're going to make even more next year. I mean, I don't even know how they're going to be around. You guys, I was saying, I think that we talked about this. Maybe it was last week. You guys weren't here, but I don't even know how. I mean, they're doing SNAP benefits. They're doing other things, and that's fine. But it seems like they're more appealing to that than to the things that we know. You know, I mean, like I was saying last week, like Kroger. I don't know about where you are, John, but Kroger's going nuts here. Like Kroger's like demolishing Instacart here. There is refrigeration, 26-foot refrigeration trucks everywhere. There's fleets of them. And for $7, you get same day delivery, in-store prices. You get Kroger delivered to your door, and that's for $5. For $7, you get it within an hour. In-store prices delivered to your door. Why would you go to Instacart? I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm just saying, like, why are you going to go to Instacart if you can get it right from Kroger at store prices, delivered in a refrigeration truck for $7?
You know, it always amazes me, even when I actually turned on Instacart for the first time today since like months ago. And when I was turning it on, it amazes me every single time how many people still use Instacart, and knowing how expensive Instacart is to use, and people are still using it. Like, that's what kind of like blows my mind. I just keep saying, do you know how expensive it is to do this?
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone's ingrained from the mode of life from 2 and 3 years ago. You know, they got used to it very fast. So,
yeah,
part of it is a habit that you can't break right now.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I mean, like here, when you find out that that you can, when you see Kroger refrigeration trucks, their advertising is awesome because it's just the trucks going down your street. It says free Kroger delivery.
Lots of advertising.
I mean, it's going down every street in refrigeration trucks.
Yeah, I think the thing is, from a customer perspective, if they get Kroger, is there other places they can get it from, or are they just stuck with Kroger? I know, like Shipt, for example, or Instacart, don't they have you can get it from 10 different stores you can order from if you have their subscription? It's not just the grocery stores there. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, like Holly and I talk about dumpling, and Holly's in here right now. We talk about dumpling, and that's kind of more of a dumpling thing. I would think like a personal assistant when you're doing.
Right. I'm just talking about the customer's perspective.
Like me, here in Colorado, Kroger is, there's City Market and there's King Soopers. So my son and I get all our food from King Soopers, which is Kroger. So this would be easy for me. But I mean, I do our own shopping. But I'm just saying, it's just, to me, it's like, this is like it seems pretty bulletproof to put them out of business here. I mean, why spend $50 more for the same groceries? All it's going to take is one of your friends knowing about this and saying, why aren't you using Kroger? Why are you still using Instacart?
Like, that's a good question. Why aren't customers using Kroger? Yeah, that is a good question.
Well, because they're just rolling it out. I think they're now, and they still allow Instacart. But watch here real soon. They're not going to be allowing Instacart.
Yeah, they'll phase them out at some point.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, with many of the apps when it comes to Walmart. I mean, Walmart's supposed to have their fleet of vans as well. And I think there's been a shift from Walmart deliveries as well, but not as much as what we think.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, if Instacart can make 428 million and none of the other giant apps can make a profit, clearly I am wrong and Instacart's doing something very right. But at the same time, I just wonder if this is going to be one of those initial public offerings where the day it launches, it's at half its value at the end of trading. You know, like even at the low amount they're going to come out at. You know, that's why I was saying, like, well, I know they're offering their shoppers some of the incentives that we got as rideshare drivers when Uber and Lyft went public. So you can take cash or you can take stock if you've done a certain amount of shops or whatnot. So
but I think at the end of the day, it comes back to the fact that somehow Instacart has managed to make a profit when all the other good companies haven't. That's the kind of the bottom line from a business perspective.
Yeah,
I would be rather suspicious of them. Maybe I'm sounding like the Debbie Downer, but I'm with Steve on this one in terms of how their valuations has gone down by multiples. It begs to the question begs about how they really going about their accounting. Are they cooking the books? Is this an Enron among the gig apps? Who knows? I mean, I don't put anything past any of these companies. Because I mean, yes, we've benefited from these companies, but at the same time, we just know how crooked they are. We just know how crooked they are from our levels.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why hearing these kind of reports where I know these reporters aren't, you know, some of us I know watch these and we think, man, you guys know better. How come, like, and Kim, as Kim and I have talked about already, like from when Kim was here and we met with Senator Priola and we did the town hall, even the senators don't know things. So don't assume these reporters know either.
They don't. And, you know, you're talking to a former newspaper reporter.
Yeah.
The media of the 21st century does not question the sources as I did, at least in my formal training and in my actual time in the business. They just don't. They are willing to be pimped by these people. That's the whole point with press releases and all. You're giving out your perspective of things, and the media is so dumb to where they're just so glad to get these bones given out to them that they'll just regurgitate what's on the press releases, and they don't question things.
Yeah, but I don't even think they have the knowledge on it.
No, they don't. They don't even do their homework. They don't even do their homework on these things.
No. And it's just shocking to me. Like I would feel, maybe it's just me and maybe there's a big enough paycheck where some people can just ethically turn their back. But honestly, I would feel responsible for the things I'm saying to know them before I'm talking to a million people. I mean, I wouldn't go on CNBC and state all this crap just because they handed me a script. I would at least want to like surface level look at it.
Right. Yeah, that's
understand it.
That's your inherent responsibility as a media person, because your role is to inform and educate, ultimately the term disseminate information, but they're not doing. Media of the 21st century isn't doing that. They're just not.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, John, you don't do Instacart, do you?
Nah.
You never have, right?
I've taken less Instacart quarters on my life than I can count on one hand.
And I'm quite the opposite. I've done less Ship It orders than I have Instacart. But then again, over the past month, I haven't done an Instacart order. In fact, I've not seen any on my phone. So,
are anybody seeing the $4 ones yet? By the way, I don't do enough to know. I don't know.
No, I've not. 7.
I've not seen it personally. The $4. I've posted on my community post where I saw like the $5 and $6 orders, but not the $4 one yet. But again, I've not seen any in the last month to even talk about. I'm wondering if this market has gone just completely rigor mortis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which. Maybe they're doing food delivery in your market too. I know you're in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Are they doing? Is there grocery delivery direct from the store? I know Aldi's doing it now.
Again, the only place that I've seen the vans are at Walmart so far.
Okay.
There are Kroger's in South Carolina, but I've not seen that yet at Kroger's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know our Safeways are gearing up for them here too. Our Safeways are getting ready to copy the Kroger model. So, I mean, to me, it's like all of this makes sense. Like for a while, I was like, why aren't you IPOing? You're losing like $1 million a day. You guys aren't going to have anything left here in a minute. And now it's like, why? Yeah, you absolutely better IPO because it looks like everybody's sticking and moving with these other options.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Bud Soda says here you have to do 5,000 batches or deliveries. I don't know what DPME batches to get any stock or to get any kind of payout. So I don't know. That's not going to be me because I've done like 10, 7. So
not like me neither.
Not even close. But yeah, I mean, this is what I see is that a lot of grocery stores are going to go to this. Like I think what Geezer said, the pandemic hit everybody, blindsided us, and left us to have to use, or left a lot of people having to use Instacart because they were so scared and they were told to stay in place and shelter at home and all this stuff and mask. And they're like, never mind, man. There's an app that brings me groceries. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. Well, and that's how DoorDash became king. They took advantage.
Oh, yeah.
They were the smartest at taking advantage of, you almost could say, a once in a lifetime situation. I think though now that things have gone back to levels of 2018 and before, and it's just interesting for all of us how we're going to make it work for ourselves. What are we doing otherwise?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I fully agree. John, I know you've got a story that on who should eat the cost of delivery. Was that the topic?
Yeah, it kind of goes along this line because it's you're talking about the IPOs and talking about these companies making a profitability. And the story that I was reading was kind of talking about with the pandemic and with everybody all of a sudden ordering food delivery, the companies, we see these prices that are 20, 30, 40% higher on the apps. And a lot of times the customer blames the app for those higher prices when it's actually the restaurant that's raising the prices. But the reason the restaurant's raising those prices is because they have to pay this commission to these, DoorDash and whatnot. So if I have to pay a 25% commission, I'm going to raise my prices by 30% to cover that. So the gist of it is who should pay that extra difference? Should it be the restaurants raising their prices? Should it be the delivery people the delivery companies reducing those prices or those fees? I know the government in many cities are stepping in and capping some of these fees. So it's getting dicey in there, and of course, a customer, they just want the lowest price possible. They don't care where it comes from. So I don't know, what are you guys' opinions on that? Do you think the restaurant should just give us the prices that we would expect to see in store and then kind of take a little bit less margin? Or are you for the restaurant charging higher prices to their customers so that we can all take a piece of it, essentially, whether it be a delivery driver or the company or whoever?
I think it's a vicious cycle, to be honest with you. I think a lot of these gig companies, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, they take a very high percentage of their money and of their revenue, which is forcing restaurants to up their prices even more. So the more money that these companies are taking out, the more restaurants are charging. And until something changes in those two, it's going to be a battle of the wills, so to speak, because the restaurant's not going to lose out on their profits just because DoorDash is taking a higher commission.
Right, but then there's legislation too. There's legislation in Wisconsin, and these are specifically on food. Wisconsin and now Miami has some of the toughest going that there is. Miami-Dade's going for a different type of legislation that lets the restaurant communicate with the customer. And the platforms are wicked upset. They're like, why should we be turning over our data to the city? You guys could use that to take our customers. And to me, like, okay, I hear what you're saying about not wanting to turn it over to the cities, but you guys have been so deceitful that why do you think that they're making you turn it over? Yeah. I mean, it's not just to be an ass. It's because what if the restaurant's out of an item? Now they can call the customer, say we're out of that. Because we know for a fact you can't call DoorDash, get somebody on the phone, have them correct it, and all this is going to happen. That's fairy tale land. Mm-hmm. You know, like this way the restaurant can contact you and say, we're out of burgers. What would you like instead?
That would be amazing.
No, you know what? I actually posted something back when I was unknown, I guess, supposedly with YouTube, whereby the restaurant can contact customers in certain situations without us having to do it. But a lot of restaurants don't do it. So it's interesting you would say that, Steve.
Well, I just think it's really interesting. Because there's all these other legislations going after things and companies, but this one's just saying, hey, no, we need to have a connection here for the customer because you guys are not doing your customers right.
Yeah. So the other thing that was interesting about this story is kind of going with the legislation is that DoorDash, so these companies, they're raising their prices to cover the fees, and then DoorDash is then saying that these companies are raising their prices too much. So they're deactivating these restaurants off of DoorDash. And so now the restaurant has to either, do its own advertising, has to, kind of be out of that ecosystem. And the fact of the matter is that people that order on these apps, they're just on the app ordering whatever they see there. They're not going to go to something else to order half the time. So it's really punishing these restaurants in these cases. So it's like I said, Kim said, it's a vicious cycle. But the thing I find interesting, they say that customers really don't care about prices, that they'll pay up to 50% more, which is what I found interesting.
I'm wondering, that sounds like pandemic talk there. Like that the customers are just like, I'll just throw money at it till my groceries arrive. Like these days, I would think a survey would show, no, man, I care a lot.
So the thing that was interesting is currently, as of right now, the prices are about, they say between 35 to 40% at any given restaurant currently. And so these restaurants are going up to 50 to 60%. But right now, the average person is paying about 40% more ordering from that.
That's crazy.
Look, wow. I'd rather just see the restaurant prices and then let the platforms fight it out for how they want to price their models.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm a transparency person, so I mean, like I think that it all starts and ends with that, and I think that they need to be transparent.
But yet there was an article, and this might have gone back like 2 or 3 months ago. There was an article that they were saying that there's been a slowdown and some of the fees are being raised because people are now doing more pickups because they're getting cheaper in house pricing from the restaurant. They don't have to pay a delivery fee, and the only thing they have to do is get in their own car and go pick it up. So a lot of people they're seeing now are picking up their order as opposed to getting it delivered, and it's causing fees to go up, drivers to lose money, and it's just a new way of the way that the food service is going. So it's amazing that 2 months ago there was that, but now you're saying almost like the complete opposite, that people are willing to pay 50% because they don't care, because they want to get their food delivered.
Yeah. That's human nature in a nutshell right there.
I mean, I guess, wouldn't it be a real slap if for years now, since the pandemic, let's say you were doing Chinese once a week from a restaurant you like, and you just kind of got used to paying $80. Now you go to pick it up yourself and it's $57.
Yeah.
I mean, that sticker shock would be like, what? Wait, why have I been paying $23 extra every time?
Well, what comes to mind though is that how many times we've said with some of these customers, why don't you go get it yourself? Well,
they are.
They are now.
Yeah.
So what's the saying about getting what you ask for?
Yeah, be careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, look, like we know for a fact that a lot of people are running into problems with you know, not specifically Dashers, but people confronting them, and even the average person might be catching something here or there on social media about like seeing one of these interactions. How much is somebody going to want to risk getting into one of those? Like, what delivery people are fighting people to they're strong arming tips out of them. And I mean, this, you look at this,
one of those things that's going to consistently escalate.
I mean, it's a, you know, it's not a necessity. It's a privilege to be able to get food delivered to you. And so if people are now worried about, wait, did I tip enough? And if I didn't, is he going to like trash my house or what? Or, you know, like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe a fear is starting to overcome some people too. I don't know. I'm not on that end of it enough, I guess, because we don't order from those platforms enough that where I know. You know, sometimes we do, and I've checked it out in other cities and stuff. And it's funny when I do use them, because I see things where I'm like, you know, like when I went to Vegas, it was like, you know, we went out like one night and then the next day we didn't, and we just decided to get some Uber Eats. We made this whole order, it took like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden we're sitting there and it was like, well, okay, hit order. And we'd finally tallied it all up and it said, hey, for $7 more, you can have it in 15 minutes instead of 50. I was like, okay. You know, just like, whatever. Just give me the food.
So you went along with it.
Yeah, I went along. Not only did I go along with it, I bought the extra package. I said, yeah, I'll pay more. Just bring me my food.
Oh, man.
However, I don't use these a lot.
You could have went out and got it yourself, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Vegas. I'm not going to drive around, but
well, depending on where you were, you could have walked to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying that, you know, it made me look and know that, like, if I was home, I don't use it though. So to me, it was like, you know, we're already spending $100. What's 107? Because it was like for 3 or 4 people or whatever, you know.
Yeah. And you were in Vegas, not in Colorado. Okay.
Yeah, and if I was in Colorado, I just don't use them. But like, if had that option come up in Colorado, no. And if I was using it, I would save that $7 and say, no, we can wait. Like, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have still taken the 50 minutes. I'm sure that's just kind of a little bit of an idle threat.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this could take an hour. Like, how hungry are you?
I'm curious, Dash and Kim. Now, I guess y'all noticed that Steve knows how I've transitioned away from a lot of the gig food delivery stuff, but I've noticed where it has really slowed down a lot, though, at least here in South Carolina. Has it slowed down for you in your market, Kim? I know that you're in a good place, you often say, and Dash, you're in Arizona where it's pretty busy, but has it slowed down though?
Yeah, for my area, it definitely has. I always, you know, 3 years in a row, like, my area has ramped up during the summer, and we didn't get that like ramping up like it normally does being down the shore. I can't say that it was like super slow, like, oh my God, I'm in a summer slowdown, but it wasn't anywhere compared to what it has been the past 3 years.
Yeah, I would say that for my area, specifically in Arizona, is kind of an interesting area because there's so much migration here. So when I say the migration, what I mean is that, like, at Arizona, where I'm in Phoenix, it's a college town. There's snowbirds. So just the amount of people in the fall here is so much different than the summers. It slows down just because of that, especially when school's not in season. So it slowed down relatively, but to say that it slowed down year over year, I won't really know until probably another month or two, honestly.
What I've been finding, though, a lot in my area is there are a lot of new drivers. So, you know, with the years of doing this, like, you get to know who your full-time drivers are. You even get to know who the part-time drivers are in your area. And there are so many new drivers in my area. You know, every day I'm like, oh my God, there are so many. Like, it's just something you notice, and I just keep shaking my head like, wow, there are a lot of new drivers here.
Yeah. Do you think as content creators, you may have contributed to the problem? I mean, there's a friend of mine. There's a friend of mine here in the Columbia area. Okay. He's always giving me grief saying, you're the reason why we're having this problem now. You gig geezer, you Mr. $10,000 a month. You Mr. $12,000 a month. You're the problem.
It could be, there's always that risk of being a YouTuber and, having people, know your area. And, when I first started, I'm like, yeah, I'm from, now I'm just like, I'm from New Jersey. Like, I don't even,
But do
say
you
a lot
think
of
it's
time.
but do you think it's us content creators, or do you think it's the 85% of the gig economy who does less than 20 hours a week, who are just coming on maybe part-time or part-time plus and having struggling at their other job or lost their other job?
Yeah.
I mean, we're in a recession. There's inflation's through the roof. I mean,
I
there's a
think
lot of other I don't think it's content
So
creators, because we
I
only
Well,
make up 15% of the full-timers anyway.
and
you
also
get what
the
I'm
other thing is
saying.
people
It's
drink
just
a
that
lot of
there's the
turnover too.
there's the certain visibility that we give to this. People do. I mean, when I really tried to improve my driver rating on DoorDash, this is something I shared at one point though. It took me like 500 deliveries to get over a 4.50 rating. I got on YouTube to figure out ways to improve my rating. Okay. Now, of course, you get to look at other content. You may see somebody talk about how I made $2,000 this week. I made $1,500 this week.
Yeah.
And so, you've got this glamorizing of things, and people think that, oh, I can go out there and make $1,200 this week doing DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats. And so, just curious, do you feel that we may have contributed to that problem, or
So
is it just
say,
that?
I'll tell you this. I'll put it this way: at any given job, I've never seen an extremely high percentage of people that are looking to get better at it. And I think with gig work, just like any other position, there's going to be 10 to 15% that are actually looking to get better at their job. Everybody else is going with the flow. Now, I'll take that one step further to say, if those people though are in your market, they are probably going to come to the store you're showing in your videos. I will say that. So, like, if they're saying my store that we're always at is now kind of saturated, I would agree with that because, yeah, I would agree with that piece of it. Yeah,
I
but
guess
just in general, I wouldn't say so.
I guess I'm just never worried because even if, say a couple people come to my market because, everybody, people know my market, they don't know it as well as I do. Someone who just comes to my market doesn't know where to park, doesn't know the side streets, doesn't know the restaurants to pick up from, doesn't know the ins and outs of my area. I know my area like the back of my hand, that I know this time to be here, this time to I've almost perfected my own system at this point for my own area. So they're not going to have the same experience that I have based off of the knowledge. I mean, they could if they keep going and doing it, for, months at a time. But, I just know my area and I know where to go. So I don't think they're going to have the same experience that I do just based off of what I know.
I think what I would say to this is that I think that we just have to be I mean, we should anyway. I mean, I did an independent contractor piece today where I was dealing with people who write federal legislation and stuff were on the stream with me. So on a very professional level, and it's kind of having me think now that you asked me that, because I think we have to be very careful about how we say, like how you were saying, glamorizing, like, yeah, don't glamorize it. If you made 2,000, explain to people that took you 90 or 100 hours, because that might unglamorize it. Because most people who are looking at these, maybe they're not hearing the hours to go along with the earnings, and I think this is a whole piece. If you're gonna talk about specific earnings, talk about your market. Make sure even though it sounds like a broken record, make sure you repeat that, because like you said, Geezer, somebody could be coming on and catching your first video, and if you're talking about earnings, you have to talk about all of it. Here was my dash time, here was my active time on DoorDash. Wait, so you spent 40 hours not working at all, just staring at the damn app? Well, I don't want to do that. Don't tell people, like, don't come on and say I made $2,000 and I did it in 42 hours, but you were on the app 90 hours.
Right.
I will agree with Geezer in the sense that we do glamorize it. I think we intend to publicize it to motivate other people who are doing the same things that we do, to educate people already doing the thing that we do. But I think naturally there's going to be people that don't do that find it and say, okay, let me try this. But the amount of people that I think that are actually going to quit a full-time job and go into gig work full-time, I don't think that we're convincing people to do that. No.
No, but what about people who get laid off or fired and can't find another job real quickly and like zap onto YouTube for a minute? They're like, wait a minute, all these people are making, like Geezer said, like, hey, look at these people making $2,500 a week.
Yeah, so I think
Like,
those
so-
people, I think they'll find it. I think they would have found it regardless. I think that we're making the videos now, but I mean, 10 years from now, 15 years, it'll be somebody else.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying. I just threw it out there. I guess too, with the economic conditions out there, yeah, people are trying to make whatever they can, whatever way they can. And quite honestly, if I'd known about some of this stuff 10 years ago, I'd probably been in a much different situation 10 years ago. So, you know, I'm glad that I eventually stumbled onto the gig economy, and it has turned things around for me. At the same time, I think though that the gig economy stuff has more visibility than it did just 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Agreed.
And so, you know, and
10 years
just like
ago, it was
Ken-
only RiDESHARE.
Yeah, it was Uber and Lyft, depending on where you were. DoorDash, what was that? You know, what was
Yeah.
Grubhub?
Mhm.
But as Kim says, you know, she noticed the new drivers. Yeah, the dead giveaway for me is those crisp red DoorDash bags that I see people show up with.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's a new thirsty. That's a new thirsty. First thing comes to mind to me.
So somebody should do a video that says, hey guys, don't look like a noob and run your bag over a few times with your car. Like make it look like you've been working for a minute.
Yeah, look like you've been there. Look like you've been there before.
You
Or
know,
they
the
come.
funny
Yeah.
thing is my DoorDash bag had seen its day, and I ordered a couple months ago, like the 2-pack that you get. And I'm like, I'm gonna look like a new. I have over 10,000 deliveries, but I'm going to look like a new driver because I have a new DoorDash bag.
Well, that's why I bought my own stuff. But
I mean, I
far,
would,
though.
you know, I would ask,
Yeah.
I would kind of ask the same thing to you, Geezer, kind of like, how are you feeling about it? Because, like, I mean, here's a perfect example of what I was saying about like way going the wrong direction and leading people the wrong ways. Like those people who put start your own van business for $500. Bullshit.
Thank you for saying that, and not me saying it. I usually am the one who's saying that. Okay.
No, but honestly, I mean, when I see those, I get so mad because I'm like, come on, guys, this is the kind of stuff you're talking about. That's horrible.
Well, I've also been blocked on a few channels for challenging people for saying you can make this, and I'm like, hey, what did you do last week? What did you do in your van last week? Instead of regurgitating and reading from a computer screen, what did you do?
Yeah.
Share what you did. And so that again, that's why I've been blocked on a few channels already because of that. You know what?
I agree with you. You got to show receipts. Can't show receipts.
I mean, like if you know, you and I have talked about it before, but like if a year ago you were talking to somebody who was coming to you that you knew for solid advice, you know, you've known them as a friend for a while, and they said, hey, listen, I really am thinking about this van business. Give me the lowdown. And you did, and you said, yeah, I think you could do well. I mean, would you give that person the same advice today?
Well, this time a year ago, I had no thought that would not have been in my thinking about a van.
Okay.
So if you ask
7
me that
months,
question,
8 months, whatever puts it into the perspective of when you were
okay, all right. Well, okay. If someone I've known over the years come to me now, I would just tell them to check out my videos, and not so much as trying to be the salesmanship of my channel, but check out my videos and see what I have done over the course of time. And I believe though that with what we do, it is what you make of it, regardless of what it is. It's what you make of it. So you can have all the apps, you can have all the ends of all the brokers, and if you can't make it work, you're going to say that this sucked anyway.
Facts. Big facts.
Yeah. I mean, so maybe a lot of these people will just burn out quick too. Who knows? I mean,
I think that's why the gig economy has a high turnover rate. I think people, we publicize information. The people, I think it's not so much as we glamorize it. I think people overestimate or underestimate the work that we do. I think we make it look easy, but it is work. We're out there, the hours we put in, the maintenance. We got to make sure the things, the time, the attention,
Mhm.
the discipline it takes. And so I think when people realize what it actually takes, that it is running a business, I think that contributes to a high turnover rate. So I think
Yeah.
that there's people that come here. I think they glamorize it, they try it, but then they don't last. And I think that's the difference of the people that you see, even that
But
stay part time.
right. But I think that does speak to Kim's thing about where you see the influx of people. I mean, these gig app companies do not, there are no caps with many of them in terms of the market saturation. They just want people available to do this because they're saying, hey, look, we want to deliver your stuff and we're going to get this to you as soon as possible. We just need 750 more people in this market here to get this done now.
Well, it's a three-part. It goes back to that story. They're telling the businesses, "Hey, we're going to make your business more money," but we're telling the drivers, "Hey, you're going to make extra $25 an hour." They're telling the customers, this and that.
But if you really think about it, like at least with my market, like I feel like this happens quite often, right? You see your influx of drivers and then they go away. You see your influx of drivers and you're like, oh, they're going through something again. But I think a lot of times every app does this is every new driver goes through a honeymoon phase and they think it's the best thing ever. And oh my God, I'm making money and I'm gonna keep making money. And then reality sets in and then people go, yeah, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I think that's where you see the peaks and valleys that you just get people to sign up and then they go away. They get people to sign up and then they go away.
Because they're told that this is your business and and you're an independent contractor and you're like, wait, I'm in my car, it's sunny. And even on my first day, I couldn't live on this, but wow, I made $60.
Mm-hmm.
I did that without even landing any clients. This is just being fed to me. I can get good at this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realize that that's going to be their top out too. And they're just like, wait, I can't live on this.
And I think that speaks to your point, Steve and Dash and Kim, about how there may be the responsibility on our part to actually give folk a realistic picture of things. You don't know what you're going to make any day that you're out there.
No.
You just don't know.
Yeah. And you don't know who else is out there that day. You don't know. I mean, how many people are you competing with? Even if it's a Tuesday and it's dead, but you do okay. You could do horrible on a Tuesday because everybody's struggling. It's the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
They got to make rent.
I think that's the video not enough of us make. My goal was 150 today and I made 78.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for all that I've shared lately, I've shared those days where it's not been no $300, $400, $500, $600. It's been a couple $100, and I'm like, shit, man, I only made a couple $100, but I need to be real and share something with folk and show that, hey, it's not all what you think it is. In fact, if I were to show one of my grid wises, I mean, technically they weren't 0 days, but there's some zeros on my grid wise, and I can explain why. But it's again, yeah, I agree. It's not what people think, and I guess we're talking among the choir. But hopefully, there's somebody here that is trying to get some new information, or someone who's kind of starting out trying to figure things out for themselves, and hopefully, we are giving them a much different perspective on things.
Yeah. And it's not doom and gloom either, because it's just ever changing. I mean, a lot of us veterans are always like, we're onboarding other apps all the time. I mean, Kim and I were backstage talking about Delivered. It's like a lot of you guys aren't even on Delivered, might not even be in your market.
I could talk about Delivered.
Wait, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I'll put it like this. You know what? I may not have gotten a van had I had Delivered been something that was more consistent in terms of opportunities, but I've seen more than my share of opportunities. In fact, Delivered, I think, is one of the better paying apps if you're looking for catering opportunities. It's definitely better than Delivered that. And the payouts, if you're able to get to a point where you're seeing some of the better order opportunities, you'll be like DoorDash, large order program. Yeah. I mean, because I'll put it like this. I've had at least 21 $100 single order opportunities onto the delivered app. I've had only one that paid $100 or more on DoorDash, and I've been on that app active since 2019. Okay, so that should give you an idea of how delivered can be for you. It's just a matter of it's a matter of you being willing to accept certain orders. I'm to a point now on the delivered app, I'm not willing to accept certain orders because I've done all those orders. I've done it. I've been there and done it. And so I'm looking for a certain, and well, you've seen where I've posted on the community page where, okay, would you accept this order? It's a $1,250 order, but it has a $50 pay with no tip. Are you still willing to do it? There are some who will, but I'm not because I've seen orders for less that have paid a couple $100 on that app. But again, delivered is, it can be better than DoorDash. It is definitely better than Deliver That. The only one that I think that that could give it a run if you see more business is Zifty.
Never heard of that one.
I've heard of
Not
it.
in my market.
I don't know if we have Zifty.
I don't have it in my market.
For me, it's in Charlotte. So if I've caught a Zifty opportunity while I was through Charlotte a few weeks back, and that order paid $47.25. How many DoorDash large order programs you get paying $47.25?
I don't do a ton of DoorDash because I don't waste my
I'm
time.
just, I mean, Kim can give that answer. Kim can give that answer. How many large order opportunities do you see over $45, Kim?
Over 45. I maybe once a week, maybe once every other week.
Okay, and
so that's not a lot.
No. The average large
more
order program,
$20, $25, $26. Like I see that probably about 4 times a day. But the bigger orders are a little bit more trickier. So to me, it's like once a week, maybe once every other week.
Right. I said long ago that I think the average large order opportunity on DoorDash is from $20 to $34. That's like your pretty much an average large order opportunity. Yeah. Now, myself, since I don't have a high acceptance rate, DoorDash likes to give me the worst of the large order opportunities. So I might get one that says, have your catering bag, but it pays $15. And then I may get one that pays over $40 or $50, but I'll see those low end ones as well.
Yeah, Delivered just launched here like a week ago, a week and a half or 2 weeks ago tops. I just onboarded Saturday. I haven't seen one offer.
Yeah. Now
I don't know if they're just getting rolling or whatnot.
Yes, that's part of it because it's just starting out. But when the opportunities come, you'll see them.
Yeah. I've been told this by a bunch of people, but it's like again, since we're just shedding the light on honesty tonight, it's like
and the other thing,
I am. I'm not seeing any. So
the other thing is that they there is this board where you may see some opportunities show up. There's a board that you may see some, but many of them are still dispatched directly to you. And I think like what I'm seeing is that you have so many people that are getting on the app. They're trying to keep everybody happy, and not everybody's getting opportunities.
So Tim Gigwise does a lot of Delivered. In fact, he was just recently in St. Louis. He did a one where I can't remember what it was, maybe $2,500 or something, but he made $334. He was on the podcast this week. So he's getting a lot of them though. And he says that when the offers come in, you have 5 to 10 to 15 minutes where it's just available to you. It's not a round robin.
Yeah.
It's your offer if you want it.
Now, I've only gotten 2 orders since I signed up two months ago, however many months ago. I've only gotten 2 orders, and both the orders, as soon as they came to my phone, they were gone.
See, that's what doesn't add up.
I know.
On the Delivered app?
Yeah.
Wow.
It happened today.
Okay.
Like, were you right on it? Did you see it and you hit it right away?
It came through. I was on my phone. It came through. I went to the app right away, and then it was gone.
Ooh. Okay. I don't have an answer. Because
they don't round robin, do they?
I didn't.
They can on the portal. There's a portal in which it could be like that. But if it's dispatched directly to you, typically you have 15 minutes to decide whether you want to accept it or not.
That's why I thought it was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
That may have been an aberration.
Maybe.
But yeah, to answer the question, since I guess I've been the delivered person and all, the largest order size that I had was $3,400, and that went to the Nations Bank building in Charlotte, and that order paid over well over $300. I've had a few $300 plus orders on the delivered app.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
and then with that comes parking, bringing it in, setting it up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little more into this too.
Yeah. And you also have to show that you have the vehicle capacity to handle those orders. On that particular order that I was sharing with you, they said they wanted someone with a van. I had to send pictures of my van again to them to show that, yes, my van could handle it. And then while doing the order, I sent them pictures of all these smash burger boxes in my van. It was like over 40 of them. So, and then it also, I had a dolly, a 4-in-1 dolly to handle most of it. They had somebody to come down and help me on that order. But you got to show the capacity of handling these orders once they may come to you with the higher paying opportunities.
So the Carnifage is out of Vegas, and they're saying that they saw a delivered sent to them today as an urgent order, and that seemed to be a round robin.
It's possible. They could probably come to you directly. I mean, this has happened in the past where they've come to me directly saying, "Hey, Geezer, we really need you. Can you do this one?" And so, they know if you're on the app or not.
I mean, Easy Cater and Food Fetched and Go Courier and stuff, they can all contact you directly once you've worked through a platform with somebody. And in fact, through ParaWorks, like we have many people in ParaWorks get contacted directly. They'll be contacted and they'll say, "Hey, we like that you did this yesterday." Nova Marco, he did 2 ParaWorks, and then they offered him 2 jobs outside of the app, and then they offered him a daily route, and he said he couldn't take it.
Ooh, that'd been a good situation there.
And it's, I mean, these are, I guess I'm just pointing out that so like every day from 2 to 4, it was like dead hours too. He would get X amount of dollars to just do work for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd been a good one. That'd been a good situation, especially if you're doing gig food work.
Yeah. Especially if they're in the dead hours too. My gosh, it just, whatever it was didn't work, but that's just pretty cool that they're looking. But at the same time, that also might talk about what we were talking about before, like where is the market become overflowed? Actually, are other restaurants going to owner.com and to all these other things to get away from these platforms now? Are they going to Easy Cater and Food Fetched, and they're saying, "Listen, let's get us some real drivers and not this people who want to sign and we can't count on," like them asking you for all these pictures. That's them obviously saying, "Listen, this is a $3,400 order. We can't screw this up.
Right?
We can't have somebody who unassigns it." I'm not going to do that.
For that money, I'm not going to do it. But they still want somebody who can handle it.
You're not everybody though, and some people
might deliver it professionally as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be sketchy on their end all the way till delivery, because you've got $3,400 worth of food and they've never met you.
Right, and that's in most cases. Now, 99 times out of 10, that is going to be the case. They've never seen you, and they may not ever see you again.
Yeah. So I guess the last thing that we'll end with here today, since we kind of went this direction, is a kind of a dual story. Kim's got one on Grubhub, and then we've got a little bit of an add-on that I just kind of want to point out and see what everybody thinks, get your take on it. But Kim, if you want to talk about the Grubhub one first.
Yeah, so there was a driver in Washington, D.C. who got his car carjacked. The shocking thing isn't that he got, well, it is, that he got his car carjacked, but it's who did it. And it was 6 teenagers. 2 of them were 13-year-old girls, and then 3 of them were boys at the age of 14, 15, and 16. And they did the carjacking with golf clubs. And there's actually video, at least the one that I had in my article actually had video. It's really disturbing. So if you don't like disturbing stuff, I don't suggest you do it. But a bystander actually had video of these kids like literally going after this driver with golf clubs. It's disgusting.
I mean, that we hear about these stories all the time. The twist on this, and we were talking about it right before we came out here, was there. This isn't so. I'm adding this to Kim's story because there was a 19-year-old who was carjacked was it Akron, John?
Akron, Ohio.
Yeah. So in Akron yesterday, and he's 19. If something had gone wrong with him, this goes back to what we were talking about people working in the independent contractor space when they're young. We've talked about it when you're under 18. Now, this is somebody who's 19, but that's still just barely over 18. You don't have any life experience or skills. You haven't had a W-2 where you're protected some. If something had happened to this guy, like he got shot or lived and whatever, who's paying for all that? His life is wrecked.
It's on him. That's the unfortunate thing.
I mean, like
it's
on us too, but we're older.
Mm-hmm.
But like with teenagers driving for a lot of these companies, do they have the life experience to say you can take whatever you want? Like just take the car, take my keys, take my purse, take whatever you want, and I'll just be over here. Like I don't know whether they have the life experience to be smart about if something bad has happened to them. You know what I'm saying? Like I worry about kids in life experience when they're doing this. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's like, look, if you had to have a W-2 till you were 25, you would understand W-2. You'd understand the protections you have by it. And then if you were like, wait a minute, I kind of like this idea of being out on my own, though. That seems a little more realistic than just coming out of high school and going, I'll just do DoorDash. Because if something happens to you don't really have life experience. You don't.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? It's interesting to say, well, get out of high school, I'll just do DoorDash. I don't think that's somebody's life ambition to be doing DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats.
No. But I think that some people again are getting these big numbers and they're like, wait, I can make this much doing this. So
yeah. And that's the other side to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think kids a lot of times say, oh my God, I'm making like, say they start this as part-time as a kid at the age of 18, and then all of a sudden they're pocketing like $20 an hour, $25 an hour. They're like, why am I not doing this full time? And then it snowballs, and then they become app driven, and that's kind of like how it goes, because they think the immediate, like, oh my God, I have money in my pocket, I can go to a club, I can go get this outfit, I can go go get my Coach purse, and I'm good to go, not realizing the lasting effects and how it affects their future.
And all these people are not they're not worried about medical insurance. They're not doing expenses on their vehicle. They're not figuring in gas.
At that age, they can still be on mommy's and daddy's insurance.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no real. I feel like I'm a broken record, but there's no real life experience at that point to steer them in the right direction.
Well, there's one thing that I think about in that, okay, you're 17, 18, 19 years old, and you think about going to school, and when you finish school, you're gonna owe the equivalent of paying for a house
or more.
Right. And okay, then you try to find a job, and then now nobody wants you. I can speak to the fact with my daughter, who has a master's and a year and a half having worked towards a doctorate, and she's having a hard time finding work, at least something that's suitable. Okay, so now you do all that, and she actually owes probably the equivalent of a house right now, having gone through as much schooling as she has. And so now, and if you do get hired, and I've been through this, and probably all y'all have gone through this, jobs don't want to pay you what you're worth. So then you look at gig apps, and that's probably a better option than all the formal education. That's just the other side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I mean, I'll tell you guys right now, I've already shared this, but I don't know if I've shared it with you, Geezer, because it's kind of been recent with me, but my son is in his senior year now in high school. And we've been having that talk about what's going to happen. And he's actually 17 and a senior. He'll be 18 like after next summer. He'll be graduated from high school and still be 17. And he's going to take a gap year. And he's going to look at he's working as a lifeguard right now for he makes $18 an hour. He might change that or do something else, but he's going to take a gap year. He's going to do some things, and he's going to feel out some tech schools. And I'm so for that. Like, dude, go. Yes. I don't want to push you in that direction, because if you really want to do college, we'll figure it out or whatever, if you've got a good idea. But these days, I think you're way better off if you've got an idea about what you want to do. Go knock out 18 months or 24 months at a tech school and get certified in something that's getting jobs.
I agree with that. I think didn't we have this discussion with Gary too, like at one point, and this is like months ago, like
before his son went in the Navy.
Yeah, right. That like, but trade schools are a very big, viable resource for a lot of people who don't want to go the college route. You get certified in something. I mean, God, look at become a plumber, become an electrician. Those are some really decently paid professions out there, and you don't have to go through the housing payment that you're going to pay for a house in order to do it.
Well, you know what? I guess we all have our abilities and all. I think back to when I finished school and I was one of those who was I got a degree in journalism, and I was able to get into the newspaper business. We're talking, almost 35 years ago now.
I was just about to say, don't tell him how long, man.
Like,
just say a while ago.
This is before beepers became popular, and gas was like 85 cents a gallon.
It was 89 cents a gallon when I graduated college.
Okay, I remember how old you said you were, Kim. But anyway, what I'm getting at is my first newspaper job paid $225 a week. I drove 1,400 miles for that interview. I even got a flat and had to drive back to Houston on a space saver, what I remember, but it paid $225 a week. And what I'm getting at, I wanted to get into the business so badly that I was willing to make that paltry sum of money. In fact, I got more on unemployment a few years later than basically what I worked on that job. And so I'm getting at, sometimes I think it all depends on what our skill set is, what really, how life clicks for us. For me, it was writing. So can we always say the technical schools and all that? What clicks for the kid?
Exactly.
Yeah. They have
but
to
also
be
going back that far, I mean, like, even though you said it was more for unemployment, these days, what you're explaining, though, the dollar went a lot farther than number one, but these days what you're talking about would be an unpaid internship.
Pretty much.
I mean, you wouldn't be making anything. They'd be like, you're lucky to be here. Mm-hmm. And it's like, but I need to make money. I need to eat. I need to live.
Yeah, that age-old thing about, life. But I'm just saying, in that respect, then, it may be to a young kid's advantage to look into the gig type stuff, because that's money that they can make, as opposed to, figuring out what. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
They should have a strategy that looks at everything. It doesn't include one thing, isn't solo one thing, but it takes a little bit of everything. Because I think even if you look at whether you go to, like, say, a university or they go to a trade school, that's not to say that there isn't going to be some gig work along the way, which way they go. I wouldn't say necessarily they should go to the full-time gig work, but if they're doing the gap year, using that as an example, hey, you can do some gig work. You could look at other things. You could try some things, some shadowing interns.
Well, his gap year is going to be a rude awakening as to how much life is.
Oh, yeah.
Because that, even though he's smart, he doesn't get it yet.
Yeah. In that respect, he's gonna.
Oh, but he will.
Yeah. He's gonna be coming.
Give a little bill.
Hey, man. Hey, Dad. You know what? We need to have that conversation again. My daughter came to me about the term adulting, and I'm like, "Oh, really? Adulting now, huh? I'm having to do these things? Well, daughter, I've been trying to prepare you for these things all this time."
I mean, I feel like this is going to happen, but I feel like he is approaching it from he's putting money away. Like his friends have all blown their money. He makes more than the kids who went out and got jobs at fast food because he went for the lifeguard. He goes in for all these trainings and gets bumps and raises, and he's doing a little coaching. So he's feeling good about himself too, and he's making decent money. But he saves like you wouldn't believe, and all of his friends waste money. Just to the utmost.
I think is a big thing. I mean, just the mindset of building things and having it's direction in general. Having goals, I think, just goes the right thing. There's a lot of people that have no goals, and difference is night and day.
Yeah.
I mean, I think character comes from a little struggle too. So I'm not against that. I don't want him to end up being a no character kid.
We all don't want our kids to be that way.
But a lot of them just end up, to me anyway, seeming like they're being like robots.
I think we all want our kids to be book smart and street smart at the same time. Like you want to have that level of common sense and, know what life is and what can come your way. And I think as parents, you try to prepare as much as you possibly can for that. But at some point, I
learn for themselves.
I only have a 6-year-old, but I can't even, imagine, yet going through a high schooler, but
it went really quick. So, I mean, you got to remember his freshman year in high school, we spent the entire year in a house locked in together during the pandemic. You know, weird that try spending in a pandemic with a freshman in high school.
No. See, I always
who can't date, who can't get out, who's like just going nuts inside.
I always say I lucked out because when lockdown happened, my daughter was 3. So like we just took her out of daycare and it was like, okay, I'm with mommy and daddy for X amount of time. Like it never even registered what was really happening. So I'm actually really grateful that was like the time frame of like her life that we went through when we didn't have to deal with school. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean that's the perfect age to be stuck in a global pandemic.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get stuck in one. I mean,
someone was saying that they're not seeing orders on the Delivered app. I can't give you a phone number these days, but I can give you an email address that you can kind of at least contact Delivered and see what might happen. Bear with me here. I'm looking for that phone number here.
Yeah, Shane is here in Colorado.
Okay. But still, I mean,
so are you, Shane, is Delivered, you're in Denver? Why do I always think you're in Fort Collins or something?
All right. This is actually to someone's, what it turned out to be was to actually someone's email. He may answer, he may not though, but I'm typing it in the chat section.
And also, anybody who wants to know, if you don't watch the channel Cars and Cribs, he did a interview with the CEO from Delivered. I know UDM did as well, but he did a pretty deep dive with him and got some real gems out of there. So if you haven't seen that, it's definitely, if you're into Delivered, it's something you should go watch.
I think he was pandering for a hookup though, but that's just my opinion.
Well, nonetheless, a lot of information came out of it.
Yeah.
So, whatever the cause or reason, at least, there's information to be taken from it.
I'm also put down Delivered's main internet address, Delivered. And
yeah.
All right. Again, the phone number, it used to be you could call them. I don't think it's a good idea to call them until later in the afternoon, but try go to the website or send that email address and see what happens as far as asking what's going on in your market as to why you're not seeing any orders.
So we're going to wrap it up for the night, you guys. This has been an extraordinarily long day for me. Geezer, you got here a couple minutes late, but I did 4 live streams, 3 curry orders, blew a tire, replaced the tire.
You've had a day.
On. Yeah, I've had 3 days, man. I've had 3 days in one day. It's pretty intense.
Steve, but thank you for inviting me, man.
You're always welcome. And
Dash, it's good meeting. It's good talking to you. Actually, in this format, Miss Kim, it's a good to talk to you in this format as well.
Thank you.
I'm not as cantankerous as I seem to be.
Oh, please.
Hey, this is the place for that.
I think he's one of the nicest people in the gig economy. I don't even know what he's talking about. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But let's go around and see what everybody's. What are you up to, Gig Geezer? I mean, I know what you're up to, but are you videos coming out? Something that you're working more intensely with these days, or?
Well, yes, I do have an upload that'll be up either tomorrow or Saturday. It's kind of an update on a recent day and from last month. For whatever's worth, though, for people who just now tuning in and all, or whatever be the case, back in December, I came out with that I was going to transition with getting a Sprinter / cargo van. And that's pretty much what I've done. I've turned things upside. I've turned it around flipped it to where my earnings have been mostly from last mile and brokered opportunities, and less than 10% of my earnings are from the gig food delivery apps now. Whereas this time last year, over 90% of the money I made was from the DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, and Instacart.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I've noticed a lot of your content lately has been about the van business, and a lot of good videos there. I'm not quite there yet myself, but definitely have checked a couple of them out.
And John, what do you got going? What are you investigating lately?
No, so I dropped a video about how a lot of Spark drivers or Walmart Spark drivers can give themselves a raise. There's an opportunity, essentially. I'm not going to give the whole video away, but long story short, some high-paying orders on Walmart, 40, 50, even one that was $125 order. So got a video about that.
You guys got to go watch the video, though. We're not going to read you the script here, so you got to go watch it, man. So, yeah. And John, for those that anybody that's catching this and has never heard me say this before, the reason I even met John was because when I started Shipped, I learned everything about Shipped from John's videos. I didn't go around YouTube. I just went to John's channel and found everything I needed.
Yeah, he stuck with it where I just trashed it.
Every market's different, though. So I would say, I go with what works in my market. At the time, it was that, and then lately, but it changed, and so now it's been Spark.
Yeah. And Kim, what's up?
Hi.
I mean, I was hearing, about your market's always gold. And even tonight I know, but I feel like tonight was a little more of an in-depth reality, and part of it might have been that maybe the amount of people traveling too and stuff weren't coming to the beach, and I don't know, maybe that's down even.
It's so funny because there on Instagram the other day, there was, and I guess it's the New Jersey thing or a Jersey Shore thing, but there was a post and it was a cartoon. And if you've ever been to a beach and you see the airplanes fly over and they have like banners advertising whatever on a beach. But anyway, it was one of those planes flying over and it just says, "It's time for you to go home now." And it was on Labor Day. And I'm like, yeah, that is so true. It's time for everybody to go home. And the thing with my area, it gets so congested in the summertime because everybody's like coming into the Jersey Shore. So like this past weekend, like it was like gridlock alert. Like you couldn't move anywhere. Like you couldn't go south. You couldn't get on major highways. So I'm like, I feel you. It's time for everybody to go home now. So hopefully we can get back to an semblance of normality around here. So, but yeah.
But videos coming out. I know that you did I was going to say Show Me the Money Club, but the Money Hungry from yesterday.
Yeah, no, I dropped a video today, so it came out today. So there's a new one out right now as we speak. Money Hungry on Wednesdays. We had Pedro on this past week. It was a really good show, so definitely go check out this past week's. We have a really fun guest coming up this coming Wednesday. I don't want to give it away, but a really fun guest, and I can't actually wait to pick his brain because he's a huge earner in the DoorDash area. So I'm actually really excited to talk to him. So that's coming this Wednesday. And then we're back here on Thursdays, and here we go.
What about Tuesdays?
It's still going on. Like I said, I've been I was on vacation last week. My daughter getting ready to go back to school this week, so it's just been crazy. I've been working. I don't know whether you guys know this, but I have 2 other channels besides this one as well. So I've been working on those channels as well. So it's not all about the gig economy and the gig space. There's other things going on.
Yep.
Steve, one thing, this is between me and you though, but you are starting funk to keep the funk going, right?
Oh, 100%. That's something Geezer and I share. And I mean, no matter what, I know some of you people like know of it and whatnot, but we share a deep affiliation for P-Funk, George Clinton. And
yeah. In fact, I was checking out something last night about Bootsy, although I'd seen it some time ago, but Bootsy has a video about getting on the one.
Yeah. Everything is on the one.
Gotta get on the
one. So if you're like going, what are these guys talking about? Bootsy Collins is an amazing bass player. Player.
Yeah, William Bootsy Collins. And if you know anything about Jane Brown, that's where you got it from. The one.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things came out of the James Brown band. Horn players extraordinaire and just wow.
Yeah, Maceo Parker.
Yep. So you guys, thank you for joining us, and hopefully, I know maybe it wasn't a doom and gloom episode, but it was maybe a little bit of an eye opener that these sometimes aren't just summer slowdowns or roadblocks. Sometimes you got to pivot and change the game up a little bit. Don't just sit there and expect the app to change for you. Because that's not going to happen. So when the app starts underperforming, like Kim says, onboard everything.
Yeah, everything.
Kim,
like I'm still. I mean, I onboarded with Curry 2-3 weeks ago. I delivered that.
Ooh,
so like
you've really come around there, Kim.
I think I'm up to 16 apps. I think I'm at. So
my.
See?
Yeah, it's even if you don't use them. So I always say this, and I said this last January. You never know when your slow season's going to happen or even a slow day, but it's always good to have all those apps in your back pocket. So when you need them, you just turn them all on and get your money.
Yeah, that's part of it. And I've been saying that for a while now. Get on as many apps as you can. I was saying though, in this market where I'm at, you need to do it, but now people are starting to experience it in their market as well, where you need as many options as you can create for yourself. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're doing this for a living, you got a multi-app. So you guys, make sure you go check. If you missed it, please go check out the independent contractor piece I did today. These are major players. I had 3 major players on with me from different states who represent different aspects of everything, and we all came together to discuss this stuff. It was it's even for app-based gig economy, it's a must watch. And then next week, the last mile is moving to 7 p.m. Eastern, and I'm hoping to have Geezer on as my guest. So we'll see. It's going to depend on work.
Yeah, but you can, as I said, pencil me in, and I'll keep you posted. But pencil me in for next week. And thanks again for the invitation.
Always. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week.